The USS Blackstar floated in the darkness of space like a predator waiting to strike. Its hull was black as midnight, absorbing light rather than reflecting it. Captain Han Ji-woo stood on the bridge, his eyes fixed on the view screen showing nothing but stars and the distant glow of the Kepler Nebula. He was 42 years old, his face marked with scars from a dozen battles, his gray-streaked hair cut military short. Behind him, the bridge crew worked quietly at their stations. "Captain, incoming transmission from Earth Command," said Lee Bora from the communications station. She was the youngest officer on the bridge, barely 25, but her fingers moved across the controls with practiced ease. Ji-woo nodded. "Put it through." The view screen changed to show Admiral Chen of Earth Command. The old man's face was grim. "Captain Ji-woo, we have a situation. The colony of New Jeju is under attack. A Vokran fleet of 47 warships has the planet surrounded. 20,000 colonists will be dead in 48 hours if we don't help them." Ji-woo felt his jaw tighten. "Where's the nearest battle group?" 3 weeks away. You're the closest ship." Admiral Chen paused. "I know the Blackstar hasn't completed trials. I know the systems are untested. But those people need help now." Lieutenant Commander Park Min-ho stepped forward. He was Ji-woo's second-in-command, a tactical genius who had served with him for 8 years. "Sir, we can make it. The flame drive is ready." From the engineering station, Chief Engineer Kim Nari's voice came through the intercom. "Captain, if we push the drive to full power, we can burn through subspace itself. We'll create a tunnel straight to New Jeju. The journey that should take 3 weeks will take 3 hours." Ji-woo looked at his crew. Every face showed determination. "What are the risks?" Nari hesitated. "We've never tested the flame drive at full capacity. The heat generation will be extreme. The ship might not hold together. And if the tunnel collapses while we're inside it, we'll be scattered across a dozen dimensions." "But it will work?" Ji-woo asked. "It should work," Nari replied. Ji-woo turned back to the view screen. "Admiral, the Blackstar is going to war." Admiral Chen nodded slowly. "Good hunting, Captain." "Earth Command out." The transmission ended. Ji-woo turned to his crew. "All hands, battle stations. Minho, plot a course to New Jeju. Nari, charge the flame drive. Choi, I want all weapons hot and ready when we arrive." Choi Diho, the weapons officer, grinned. He was a former Marine with arms like tree trunks and a reputation for never missing a shot. "Aye, Captain. The Vokrans won't know what hit them." In Medical Bay, Dr. Yoon Sarah began preparing for casualties. She had served on 3 ships before the Blackstar, seen hundreds of wounded soldiers. She knew what was coming. The ship hummed with energy as the flame drive began to charge. Through the viewports, the crew could see space itself beginning to shimmer. Heat washed through the corridors, making the air thick and heavy. Emergency cooling systems kicked in, but still the temperature climbed. "Drive charged to 30%, Nari reported. 50%. 70%. Ji-woo gripped the armrests of his command chair. "All crew secure for jump. This is going to be rough. 100%. Drive is hot. Initiating burn in 3, 2, 1. The universe caught fire. Space ripped open in front of the Blackstar like torn fabric. Beyond the tear was not darkness, but flames, burning with colors that shouldn't exist. The ship's engines roared, pushing them forward into the impossible tunnel. Reality screamed around them. Inside the ship, crew members felt their bodies stretched and compressed at the same time. Time moved strangely. A second felt like an hour. An hour passed in a heartbeat. Through the viewports, they could see the walls of the tunnel, made of pure fusion fire, temperatures that would vaporize a planet. "Hull temperature rising," Nari called out. Her voice strained. "Outer plating holding, but we're pushing the limits. Stay on course," Ji-woo ordered. His knuckles were white on the armrests. Bora monitored long-range sensors. "Captain, I'm detecting anomalies in the tunnel structure. It's unstable. How long until we reach New Jeju?" Ji-woo asked. 2 hours and 40 minutes, Min-ho replied. It was the longest wait of their lives. The ship shuddered and groaned. Warning lights flashed on every console. The flames outside grew brighter, hotter. Several crew members passed out from the G-forces. Dr. Sarah moved through the ship with her medical team, treating heat exhaustion and broken bones. Finally, Nari's voice came through. "Approaching exit point. Prepare for deceleration." The Blackstar burst from the flame tunnel like a comet trailing fire behind it. The tunnel collapsed behind them in a cascade of dying light. They had made it. "Location confirmed," Bora said. "We're in the New Jeju system, and we have company." On the view screen, 47 Vokran warships surrounded the green and blue planet. The alien vessels were massive, covered in weapons, their hulls painted with the red symbols of the Vokran Empire. They had been bombarding the colony for hours. Parts of the planet's surface were already burning. One of the Vokran ships transmitted a signal. The view screen showed an alien face, reptilian and cruel. Admiral Thokmar of the Vokran fleet. Human vessel, you are alone against 47 warships. Power down your weapons and surrender. We will spare your crew. Jiwoo stood up from his command chair. The Blackstar's hull was still glowing white-hot from the journey, radiating heat like a small star. Behind him, his crew waited for orders. Below them, 20,000 human colonists waited to die or be saved. Minho, bring us about. Daeho, target their lead ships. Nari, keep the reactor hot. We're not cooling down. Jiwoo's eyes were cold as space itself. He opened a channel back to the Vokran admiral. Light them up. The first plasma lance shot from the Blackstar's bow, a beam of superheated matter traveling at a fraction of light speed. It struck the nearest Vokran cruiser dead center. The alien ship didn't explode. It simply vanished, vaporized instantly by temperatures matching the surface of a star. The Battle of New Jeju had begun. The 47 Vokran ships turned their weapons on the single human vessel. Space filled with energy bolts, missiles, and plasma torpedoes. The Blackstar dove into the storm of fire, its black hull barely visible against the void. But wherever it moved, Vokran ships died. Daeho's fingers danced across his console, targeting, firing, targeting again. Another plasma lance shot out. Another Vokran ship disappeared. 2 down, 45 to go, he said with grim satisfaction. The Vokrans were adapting now, spreading out to surround the human ship. Energy bolts hammered against the Blackstar's shields. One got through, tearing a hole in the port armor plating. Alarm screamed. Hull breach on deck 7, Minho reported. Sealing bulkheads, Nari's voice came through, urgent. Captain, I can give you something special. The flame drive is still hot. I can use it for short bursts. We can teleport through burning space. Do it, Jiwoo ordered. The Blackstar vanished from one point in space and appeared instantly at another, leaving a trail of fire between the two positions. The Vokran ships fired at where the human vessel had been, hitting empty space. Before they could adjust, another plasma lance struck, destroying a third cruiser. Admiral Thokmar watched from his flagship, his scaled face twisted in confusion and growing fear. This was impossible. One ship against his entire fleet, and the humans were winning. The space around New Jeju burned with weapons fire. The Blackstar moved through the chaos like a ghost, appearing and disappearing, each time leaving destroyed Vokran ships in its wake. Captain Jiwoo watched the tactical display as the enemy count dropped. 47 ships, then 44, then 40. They're trying to box us in, Minho said, pointing at the screen. Red dots representing Vokran vessels were forming a sphere around the Blackstar's position. If they complete that formation, we'll be taking fire from all directions at once. Jiwoo nodded. Nari, how many more flame jumps can we do? From engineering, Nari's voice was strained. Maybe 10 before the drive needs to cool down. Each jump is putting stress on the reactor. If we push too hard, we'll have a meltdown. Then we make every jump count. Daeho, pick your targets carefully. The weapons officer studied his screens. Vokran ships were everywhere, their weapons charging for another massive volley. He selected 3 cruisers that were close together. Got them locked, Captain. Execute jump. Fire when ready. The Blackstar vanished and reappeared directly above the 3 targeted cruisers. Daeho didn't hesitate. 3 plasma lances fired simultaneously, 3 perfect shots. The Vokran ships exploded in sequence, their reactors going critical, creating a chain reaction of destruction that caught 2 more nearby vessels. 5 more down, Bora reported from communications. I'm intercepting their command channels. They're panicking, sir. They've never seen anything like us. But the victory came with a price. While the Blackstar was focused on the 3 cruisers, a dozen Vokran ships opened fire from the other side. Energy bolts slammed into the human vessel's shields, overloading them. One bolt punched through, tearing into the starboard side. The ship shook violently. Sparks exploded from consoles across the bridge. A young ensign was thrown from his chair, his arm broken. Medical teams rushed to help. Damage report, Jiwoo called out. Minho worked his console quickly. Starboard weapons array is offline. Hull breach on decks 4 and 5. We've lost 2 gun turrets and the secondary shield generator. Dr. Sarah's voice came through the intercom. Medical to bridge. I have 3 wounded down here, 2 critical. I need those decks sealed now. Sealing bulkheads, Minho confirmed. Emergency doors slammed shut throughout the ship, containing the damage but also trapping some crew members in sealed sections. On the view screen, Admiral Thokmar appeared again. The Vokran commander was standing now, his clawed hands gripping his command chair. Human captain, you fight well. But you are one ship. We are still 38. Your vessel is damaged. Surrender now, and I will allow your crew to live as prisoners. Jiwoo wiped blood from a cut on his forehead. Around him, his bridge crew looked exhausted but determined. Smoke drifted through the air. Half the lights were out, but they were still fighting. Minho, how close are we to their flagship? Jiwoo asked quietly. The tactical officer checked his sensors. About 15 kilometers, why? Because we're going to ram them. The bridge went silent. Everyone turned to look at their captain. Minho's eyes widened. Sir, at this distance, if we activate the Corona protocol, the heat will cook them alive. But it will also nearly destroy us, and nearly isn't completely. Nari, can you do it? From engineering, there was a long pause. Then Nari spoke, her voice firm. Yes, Captain. But I need everyone to seal themselves in. The heat will be extreme. Anyone exposed will die instantly. Jiwoo activated the ship-wide intercom. All hands, this is the captain. Seal all compartments.
Get into your suits.
We're about to become a star. He closed the channel and looked at his crew. You heard her. Seal your suits. That's an order. The bridge crew moved quickly, pulling on helmets and sealing their environmental suits. Through the viewports, they could see the Vokran fleet repositioning, thinking the damaged human ship was trying to retreat. All compartments sealed, Bora reported, hull temperature rising. The reactors feeding power to the outer plating. The Blackstar's black hull began to glow, first red, then orange, then yellow. The metal itself was becoming superheated, turning the entire ship into a massive heat weapon. Space around the vessel began to shimmer from the thermal radiation. Full thrust toward the flagship, Jiwoo ordered. Maximum speed. The Blackstar accelerated directly at Admiral Thokmar's command ship. The Vokran admiral realized too late what was happening. All ships intercept.
Stop that vessel.
But the Vokrans had positioned themselves in a sphere formation. To fire at the Blackstar now would mean hitting their own ships on the other side. They hesitated just for a moment. That moment was enough. The Blackstar plunged into the center of the Vokran formation, its hull glowing white-hot like a piece of the sun itself. The heat was incredible. Vokran ships within 2 kilometers began to melt. Armor plating bubbled and ran like water. Internal systems overloaded. Crews died as their ships became ovens. 12 Vokran vessels simply fell apart, their structures failing under the extreme heat. 5 more tumbled away, badly damaged and venting atmosphere. The remaining ships scattered in panic, breaking formation. Inside the Blackstar, the crew felt the heat even through their suits and the ship's insulation. Warning alarms screamed. The bridge temperature reached 50 degrees. 60. 70. Nari, we need cooling now, Jiwoo shouted. Venting heat! Shutting down Corona protocol. The ship's hull began to cool, radiation levels dropping. The glow faded from white to yellow to red to black again. But the damage to the Vokrans was done. Their formation was broken, their ships scattered, their morale shattered. Daeho, sweat pouring down his face, brought weapons back online. Captain, the flagship is right there. She's wounded. One good shot and we end this. Jiwoo looked at the tactical display. Admiral Thokmar's command ship was listing, smoke pouring from a dozen hull breaches. But it was still firing, still fighting. Around it, the surviving Vokran ships were trying to regroup. Target the flagship's engines. Let's see how they like being stranded. Daeho fired a sustained plasma barrage. The beams struck the Vokran flagship's drive section, slicing through armor and into the reactor compartment. Explosions rippled through the massive ship. Its engines went dark. Direct hit, Minho confirmed. Their main drives are offline. They're drifting. On the view screen, Admiral Thokmar appeared one last time. His face was burned, his command chair on fire behind him. You fought with honor, human. More honor than I expected. We withdraw. The colony is yours. He cut the transmission. One by one, the surviving Vokran ships turned and jumped to faster-than-light speed, abandoning their admiral and fleeing the system. In less than an hour, 47 warships had been reduced to 23. 23 ships destroyed, 9 heavily damaged. The remainder had run away. The Blackstar hung in space above New Jeju, battered and smoking but victorious. On the planet below, 20,000 colonists watched the sky and cheered. They had been saved. Jiwoo slumped in his command chair, suddenly exhausted. Around him, his crew began removing their helmets. Bora was crying quietly, relief and fear finally catching up with her. Daeho was checking his weapon systems with shaking hands. Minho just stared at the tactical display, unable to believe what they had done. Casualty report, Jiwoo said quietly. Dr. Sarah's voice came through, tired but professional. 5 dead, Captain. 18 wounded, 3 critical. I'm operating on them now. 5 dead. Jiwoo closed his eyes. 5 of his crew who would never go home. 5 families who would receive the worst news possible. The price of victory. Nari, how's the ship? We're a mess, sir. 30% of our systems are offline or damaged. The starboard weapons array needs complete replacement. We have hull breaches on 6 decks. The reactor is stable but needs maintenance. We won't be fighting again anytime soon. Jiwoo nodded slowly. Take us into orbit over New Jeju. Standard orbit. Let's rest. As the Blackstar limped toward the planet, Bora suddenly sat up straight at her console. Captain, I'm intercepting Vokran military channels. High-level command frequencies. 2 weeks had passed since New Jeju. The USS Blackstar sat in a repair dock, crews working around the clock to fix the damage. Captain Jiwoo stood on the observation deck, watching welders seal the last hull breach. His reflection in the glass looked older than it had a month ago. Behind him, the door opened. Admiral Chen walked in, his uniform crisp despite the long journey from Earth. Captain, your ship will be ready in 6 hours. Jiwoo turned. Admiral, I wasn't expecting you personally. Chen moved to stand beside him, looking out at the Blackstar. After what you did at New Jeju, everyone wants to meet you. You're a hero, Captain. The whole galaxy is talking about the ship that destroyed a Vokran fleet single-handed. We lost 5 crew members. I don't feel like a hero. War has costs, Chen said quietly, but because of your crew, 20,000 colonists are alive. Their children will grow up free. That matters. Jiwoo nodded but said nothing. Chen continued. I'm here with new orders. We're done playing defense. Earth Command wants you to take the war to them. We've identified a target, Crimson Station. A holographic display appeared between them, showing a large artificial structure orbiting a dead moon. Crimson Station was massive, covered in fuel tanks and docking bays. It's the main fuel depot for the Vokran Western Fleet, Chen explained. Every ship in 3 sectors gets supplied from there. Destroy it and their fleet will be crippled for months. Minho walked into the observation deck carrying a data pad. He had been reviewing the station's defenses. 8 warships on permanent garrison. Automated defense platforms. Shield generators. This won't be like New Jeju, they'll be ready for us. That's why we're sending you, Chen said. The Vokrans are terrified of the Blackstar now. They're pulling ships from the front lines just to defend important targets. Every day they're scared is a day our colonies are safer. Jiwoo studied the hologram. When do we leave? As soon as repairs are complete. But Captain, there's something else. Our intelligence indicates Vokran civilians work at Crimson Station. Engineers, technicians, non-combatants. You want me to kill civilians? Chen's face was hard. I want you to destroy a military target. What happens to anyone there is a consequence of war. After Chen left, Jiwoo gathered his senior officers in the briefing room. Nari had been working for 36 hours straight and looked exhausted. Daeho was cleaning his sidearm, a habit when he was nervous. Bora sat quietly, her usual cheerfulness gone. Dr. Sarah came in last, still wearing her surgical scrubs. We have a new mission, Jiwoo said, and explained about Crimson Station. When he finished, Sarah spoke first. Are we really going to kill workers? People who might not even support the war? They work for the Vokran military, Daeho said. They're helping to fuel the ships that bomb our colonies. They're not innocent. They might not have a choice, Bora added quietly. I've been listening to Vokran civilian broadcasts. A lot of them don't want this war. But their government doesn't care what they think. Minho put a hand on the table. It doesn't matter. We're soldiers. We follow orders. If Earth Command says destroy the station, we destroy the station. Even if it's wrong? Sarah asked. Jiwoo held up a hand for silence. I understand how everyone feels. But Minho's right. We have our orders. However, I'll offer this. If we see a way to minimize civilian casualties, we take it. But the station must be destroyed. Dismissed. The Blackstar left dock 6 hours later, its hull repaired and systems upgraded. The journey to Crimson Station took 3 days, passing through 2 Vokran-controlled systems. Along the way, they encountered a merchant convoy. 5 large cargo ships with minimal weapons. Should we engage? Daeho asked, his hand hovering over the weapons controls. Jiwoo studied the merchant ships on the view screen. They were running, not fighting.
Scan them.
Are they carrying military supplies? Bora worked her console. Negative, Captain. Looks like food, medical supplies, civilian goods. They're heading toward one of the Vokran colony worlds. Let them go. Daeho looked surprised. Sir, those supplies will help the Vokran war effort. Those supplies will help Vokran civilians survive. We're not here to starve innocents. Let them go. The merchant ships jumped to faster than light speed, broadcasting their gratitude on open channels. Word would spread. The human fire ship showed mercy. Jiwoo wasn't sure if that was good or bad. Crimson Station appeared on long-range sensors 4 hours later. It was even larger than the holograms had shown. A small city floating in space. Fuel tanks the size of skyscrapers. Docking bays that could hold 12 ships each. And surrounding it all, 8 Vokran warships on patrol. They know we're coming, Minho said, reading the tactical display. Those ships are in defensive positions. They're not taking any chances. Nari's voice came through from engineering. Captain, I've been working on something. Remember how we used the flame drive as a weapon at New Jeju? I think I can do better. I can open a burn tunnel near the station, summon fire from another dimension. It would be like dropping a star on them. How big is the blast? Jiwoo asked. Everything within 5 kilometers will be vaporized instantly. The station, the ships, everything. Including anyone who works there, Sarah added over the intercom from Medical Bay. Jiwoo stared at the view screen. Crimson Station glittered in the light of the nearby sun. Somewhere inside, Vokran engineers were working. Technicians were monitoring fuel levels. Maybe even families lived in the residential sections, and he was about to kill them all. Battle stations, he said quietly. Prepare to engage. The Blackstar dropped out of faster-than-light speed inside the defensive perimeter, using a flame jump to bypass the outer patrols. The 8 garrison ships immediately opened fire. The battle began instantly. Daeho returned fire, plasma lances cutting through space. 1 Vokran cruiser exploded, then another. But the remaining 6 ships were coordinated, having learned from New Jeju. They kept their distance, using long-range bombardment instead of closing to where the Blackstar's heat could reach them. Energy bolts hammered the human ship. Shields flickered and failed. A direct hit struck the port side, tearing through armor and into the crew compartments. 3 people died instantly, sucked out into vacuum before the emergency bulkheads could close. Hull breach on Deck 7, Minho shouted over the alarms. We've lost crew quarters in the secondary reactor room. Another hit struck the bridge. Sparks exploded from Bora's console and she screamed as electricity arced through her station. Dr. Sarah ran onto the bridge and pulled her away. The young officer's hands burned and bloody. We're taking too much damage, Minho said. We can't win a conventional fight. Jiwoo watched his ship dying around him. 2 more crew members dead in engineering, Nari reported over the intercom, her voice breaking. The Vokran ships were circling like wolves, patient and deadly. Nari charged the flame weapon. We're ending this. Captain, the civilians, and Sarah started. I know, Jiwoo said. I know. But we're out of options. If we don't use the weapon, we'll die here and the Vokrans will keep using this station to fuel their fleet. More colonies will burn. More humans will die. Charge the weapon. Nari's voice was quiet. Charging! 30 seconds. The Blackstar took another hit, this one striking the main reactor. Warning alarms screamed through every deck. The lights flickered. Life support wavered. 20 seconds, Jiwoo opened a channel to Crimson Station. This is Captain Han Jiwoo of the USS Blackstar to all personnel on Crimson Station. You have 15 seconds to evacuate. Get to your ships. Get to your pods. Get away from the station. This is your only warning. On the station, chaos erupted. Vokran workers ran for the docking bays. Ships began launching, fleeing in every direction. But there wasn't enough time. There were too many people. 10 seconds. Sir, there are still hundreds of people on that station, Bora said through her pain, tears running down her burned face. They're trying to escape. 5 seconds, Jiwoo closed his eyes. Fire! Space tore open beneath Crimson Station. A column of fusion fire erupted from the artificial burn tunnel, temperatures exceeding 10 million degrees. The station didn't melt. It didn't explode. It simply ceased to exist, vaporized in an instant along with the 6 remaining Vokran warships caught in the blast. When the light faded, there was nothing left but expanding gas and scattered debris. The USS Blackstar limped through deep space, its hull scarred and smoking. In the medical bay, Dr. Sarah worked on the burned crew members while trying not to think about the Vokran civilians she couldn't save. On the bridge, Captain Jiwoo sat in his command chair staring at nothing. "Captain, incoming transmission," Bora said. Her hands were wrapped in bandages, but she insisted on working. "It's Earth Command." Admiral Chen appeared on the view screen. Behind him, Jiwoo could see other high-ranking officers. They were all smiling. "Captain Jiwoo, congratulations. Crimson Station is gone. The Vokran Western Fleet is dead in space without fuel. You've struck a major blow for humanity." Jiwoo didn't smile back. "We destroyed the station, Admiral." "Mission accomplished." Chen seemed to notice his tone. "Captain, are you all right?" 5 more crew members dead, Admiral. 18 wounded. And we killed everyone on that station. Workers, engineers, maybe families. So no, I'm not all right." The Admiral's smile faded. "War requires hard choices, Captain. You did what was necessary." After the transmission ended, Minho approached Jiwoo's chair quietly. "Sir, we have a problem. I'm detecting multiple ships on an intercept course. They're coming from 3 different directions." Jiwoo sat up. "Vokran, 15 ships. All heavy cruisers, fast attack vessels. They're coordinated, working together." Minho pulled up the tactical display. "Sir, they're not trying to fight us. They're trying to hurt us." "Now hurt us where?" Bora worked her console with her bandaged hands. "Calculating their vectors. Sir, they're pushing us toward the Void Cluster. It's a region filled with gravitational anomalies. The flame drive won't work there, too much interference." Jiwoo stood up. "They want to take away our advantage. Nari, can we jump away before they reach us?" From engineering, Nari's voice was exhausted. "Not safely, Captain. The flame drive is still hot from the weapon discharge at Crimson Station. If we try to jump now, we might tear the ship apart. We need at least 2 hours to cool down properly." "We don't have 2 hours. How long until those ships reach us?" 90 minutes, Minho said. On the view screen, a transmission request came through. Jiwoo accepted it. Admiral Thokmar appeared, the Vokran commander from New Jeju. His face was scarred from the battle, one eye covered with a metal patch. "Captain Jiwoo, we meet again. You humiliated me at New Jeju. You destroyed Crimson Station. Now the Vokran High Command has given me one chance to restore my honor. My mission is simple. Destroy the Blackstar or die trying." "You're coming after us with 15 ships?" Jiwoo asked. Thokmar smiled, showing sharp teeth. 15 ships now. 20 more waiting at the edge of the Void Cluster. We know about your cooling problem, human. We know you can't use your flame drive for another 2 hours, so we wait. We chase, we trap, and then we kill you." The transmission ended. Jiwoo turned to his crew. Everyone looked exhausted, scared. They had been fighting for weeks, barely sleeping, watching friends die. "Can we fight our way through 15 ships?" he asked. Daeho checked his weapons. "Maybe, but we're damaged. Our shields are at 60%. We've lost half our port weapons, and if 20 more ships are waiting, we'll be caught between 2 forces. We'll be destroyed. Options." Minho studied the tactical display for a long moment. "Sir, I hate to say this, but we should consider surrender. We could scuttle the ship, make sure the Vokrans don't get the flame drive technology. The crew could survive as prisoners." "No." Jiwoo's voice was hard. "We don't surrender. This ship, this crew, we've shown the Vokrans that humans can fight. If we give up now, every sacrifice was for nothing." "Then what do we do?" Sarah asked from the medical bay intercom. "We're dying, Captain. The crew is falling apart. We can't win this." Jiwoo looked at each face on his bridge. Young Bora with her burned hands, Daeho, who had never missed a shot, Minho, who had been with him for 8 years, and down in engineering, Nari, who had made the impossible ship work. "We run," he said, "but not to escape. We run into the Void Cluster. Let them chase us into that gravitational hell. And when they think they have us trapped, we give them something they'll never forget." The Blackstar turned and ran. Behind them, the 15 Vokran ships accelerated, weapons charging. They were faster than the damaged human vessel, slowly closing the distance. Energy bolts started reaching out, most missing but some connecting, each hit weakening the Blackstar further. "They're gaining," Minho reported. "Impact in 30 minutes." The Void Cluster appeared ahead, a region of space where reality seemed twisted. Sensors showed impossible readings. Gravity wells where nothing should exist. Space folding in on itself. It was dangerous even for ships with working drives. For the Blackstar, it could be fatal. All hands secure for rough passage, Jiwoo ordered. We're going in. The ship plunged into the void cluster. Immediately, everything went wrong. Gravity fluctuated wildly. Up became down. Left became right. Crew members were thrown against walls, then against ceilings. Emergency restraints deployed throughout the ship. I can't control the ship, Minho shouted, fighting with the helm. The gravitational fields are too strong. Behind them, the 15 Vokran ships followed. Then the 20 waiting ships appeared ahead, cutting off escape. The trap was complete, 35 warships surrounding one damaged human vessel. Admiral Thokmar's transmission came through again. Nowhere left to run, Captain. Surrender now. Jiwoo looked around his bridge. Bora was crying silently. Daeho's weapons console was sparking and failing. Minho couldn't steer. Dr. Sarah was reporting crew members with broken bones and internal injuries throughout the ship. Sir, Nari's voice came through, barely a whisper. I have an idea, but it will probably kill us all. Tell me. The void cluster has a collapsed neutron star at its center, massive gravitational pull. If we go there, if we activate the flame weapon right next to that gravity well, the interaction could create a fusion cascade. We could turn this entire region of space into a temporary star. How temporary? About 5 seconds. But in those 5 seconds, everything within 50 kilometers will be incinerated, including us. Can the ship survive? Nari was quiet. Maybe. The hull is designed to withstand stellar temperatures, but we've never tested it under these conditions, and we're damaged. I'd say we have a 20% chance, 20%. 1 in 5. Jiwoo looked at the tactical display. 35 Vokran ships moving in for the kill. His crew battered and dying. No way to fight. No way to escape. Minho, transfer helm control to my station. I'll pilot us in manually. Jiwoo activated the ship-wide intercom. All crew, this is the captain. We're not surrendering. We're not dying quietly. If this is our last fight, we're taking them all with us. Anyone who wants to survive, get to the escape pods. I'm not ordering anyone to stay. Silence for a moment. Then Daeho's voice, I'm staying, Captain. Someone needs to fire the weapons. Bora. Communication staying, sir. You'll need someone to tell the story if we survive. Dr. Sarah. Medical staying. When we make it through this, you'll all need patching up. Minho just reached over and gripped Jiwoo's shoulder. Together, sir. Like always. From engineering, Nari's voice was steady now. Engineering staying, Captain. I need to control the weapon discharge manually. No one else knows how. Throughout the ship, similar reports came in. A few crew members headed for escape pods, 37 in total. Jiwoo didn't blame them, but most stayed at their posts. They were the crew of the Blackstar, and they would face death like they faced everything else together. Launch the escape pods, Jiwoo ordered. Everyone else secure for impact. The 37 pods ejected, scattering into space. The Vokran ships held fire, thinking the entire crew was abandoning ship. Admiral Thokmar must have been confused, watching most of the Blackstar's crew choose to stay aboard the dying vessel. 3 months had passed since the void cluster. The USS Blackstar sat in the Luna orbital yards above Earth's moon, completely rebuilt. New armor plating covered the hull, stronger than before. Enhanced weapons bristled from every angle. The flame drive had been redesigned, more stable and more powerful. Captain Han Jiwoo stood on the observation deck, watching the final preparations. He had spent weeks in the hospital recovering from the injuries he sustained in the neutron star explosion. His crew had scattered across the fleet, some transferred to other ships, some taking time to heal like him. But now they were back together. Behind him, the door opened. Admiral Chen walked in, followed by Lieutenant Commander Park Minho, now wearing the insignia of a full commander. Captain, the Blackstar is ready. Better than new, Jiwoo turned. Admiral, Commander. How does it feel to have your ship back? Chen asked. Strange. It looks the same, but everything's different. New crew members, new systems. Part of me wishes we could have saved the old girl. Chen pulled up a holographic display. Well, you'll need every advantage. The war situation has changed. After the Void Cluster, after you destroyed 35 Vokran ships, their empire is fracturing. 3 of their subject species have declared independence, but the Vokran High Command isn't giving up. They're gathering their entire home fleet at their capital system. 300 ships. 300, Minho repeated quietly. We barely survived 35. Earth is assembling a fleet too. 120 warships, the largest force humanity has ever gathered. You'll lead them, Captain. Jiwoo looked at the display showing the massive Vokran force. When do we leave? 2 days. The other ships are already gathering. This is it, Captain. The final battle. We end this war one way or another. Over the next 2 days, the USS Blackstar welcomed its new crew, young men and women who had volunteered specifically to serve on the legendary ship. They looked at Jiwoo with awe, at Minho with respect, at the scarred hull with wonder. Engineer Nari worked around the clock preparing the ship. She had survived the void cluster through sheer luck, being in the most heavily shielded part of engineering when the blast wave hit. Now she was obsessed with making sure every system was perfect. Weapons Officer Deho trained the new gunnery crews. He had nightmares about Crimson Station, about all the people who died, but during the day he remained professional and focused. Communications Officer Bora, her hands healed but scarred, coordinated with the fleet. 120 ships, thousands of crew members, all preparing for the largest space battle in human history. Dr. Sarah stocked Medical Bay with supplies and additional staff. She knew what was coming. A lot of people were going to die. The day of departure arrived. The human fleet assembled in Earth orbit, a spectacular sight. Heavy battleships, fast cruisers, carrier vessels holding fighter squadrons. And at the front, leading them all, the black shape of the USS Blackstar. Admiral Chen transmitted from Earth Command. All ships, this is your moment. The Vokrans are waiting at their homeworld. 300 ships ready to defend their capital. We're going to meet them. We're going to fight them. And we're going to end this war. May you all return home safely. Earth Command out. The fleet jumped to faster-than-light speed. The journey took 2 weeks, passing through space that was now quiet. The Vokran border forces had all withdrawn, pulled back to defend the home system. It was eerie, traveling through enemy territory unopposed. During the journey, Jiwoo walked through his ship. He met the new crew members, learned their names, their stories. Many were young, barely out of training. Some had family who died in Vokran attacks. Others just wanted to serve, to be part of history. He found Nari in engineering one night staring at the flame drive. Captain, I need to tell you something. I've made one more modification. What kind of modification? The supernova protocol. If we activate it, the flame drive will overload completely. It will create an uncontrolled fusion reaction. A real miniature supernova. Everything within 100 kilometers will be destroyed instantly, including the Blackstar. Jiwoo felt cold. Why would you build something like that? Because if we're going to lose, if we're going to die anyway, we should take as many of them with us as possible. It's a weapon of last resort, Captain. I hope we never use it, but it's there if we need it. The fleet emerged from faster-than-light speed at the edge of the Vokran home system. The view screen showed a beautiful planet, red oceans and purple continents, cities glittering on the night side. Home to 8 billion Vokrans. And surrounding it, 300 warships. The Vokran home fleet was arranged in perfect formation, hundreds of vessels in coordinated defensive positions. They had been waiting. They were ready. A transmission came through. A new Vokran admiral, not Thokmar this time. Human fleet, turn back now. This is your last chance. We are defending our home. We will fight to the last ship. Admiral Chen's response was simple. Then let's end this. The largest space battle in history began. 120 human ships charged forward. 300 Vokran vessels opened fire. Space became hell. The Blackstar led the assault, its flame drive allowing it to appear and disappear across the battlefield. Deho's weapons crews worked with mechanical precision, plasma lances cutting through Vokran ships. But there were so many enemies. For every ship the humans destroyed, 2 more took its place. 20 minutes into the battle, 15 human ships were destroyed. The Vokrans had lost 40, but they could afford the losses. The math was brutal and simple. Sir, we can't win a straight fight, Minho said, watching the tactical display. They have too many ships. Suddenly, a group of 40 Vokran vessels broke formation. They ignored all other human ships and focused solely on the Blackstar. Jiwoo recognized the lead ship immediately, Admiral Thokmar. A transmission came through. The Vokran commander looked older, more scarred. Captain Jiwoo, you destroyed my fleet at New Jeju. You humiliated me at the Void Cluster. Now we end this. You and me. Single combat. Ship against ship. If you win, the Vokran fleet withdraws and we negotiate peace. If I win, your fleet leaves our system and never returns. Both fleets hesitated, waiting. It was insane, deciding the entire war on a single duel. But everyone was tired. Everyone wanted it to end. Captain, you don't have to do this, Chen transmitted. We can keep fighting. Jiwoo looked at the tactical display. 30 human ships already destroyed, 80 Vokran vessels burning. At this rate, both fleets would be wiped out in another hour. How many thousands would die? I accept, Jiwoo said. But Admiral Thokmar, if I win, you must honor your word. Peace negotiations begin immediately. No more attacks on human colonies, agreed. And when I win, humanity leaves Vokran space forever. The two fleets pulled back, creating a clear space. 39 of Thokmar's ships withdrew. The Blackstar faced the Vokran flagship alone. 2 scarred warships circled each other slowly. Thokmar's vessel was massive, covered in weapons and heavy armor. The Blackstar was smaller, faster, burning with barely contained power. They opened fire simultaneously. Plasma lances and energy bolts crossed the void. The Blackstar's new armor held, but barely. Thokmar's shields absorbed hit after hit. They were evenly matched. The battle continued for 10 minutes. Both ships took serious damage. The Blackstar's port side was torn open. Thokmar's flagship had 3 engines offline. Either would surrender. Captain, we can't win this way, Nari's voice came through. His ship is too heavily armored. Our weapons can't penetrate deep enough. Jiwoo knew she was right, and he knew what he had to do. Nari, prepare the supernova protocol.